Hey, this is Rick Caselge, injury specialist from exercisesforinjuries.com. In today's video, I wanted to go through an interview with Alli Kerr, and I'll get Alli Kerr to introduce herself, and then we'll start kind of talking about the saggy butt syndrome. So Alli, I'll get you to introduce yourself to the listeners, viewers, readers, and then we'll get into the interview.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rick, for allowing me to come on and interview with you and talk about saggy butt syndrome.
Awesome.
I actually work with mostly females. I actually own a women's only facility and do personal training for women. And I've also been a fitness competitor, been a personal trainer for years. And one of the things that I have learned a lot about and specialize in now is the booty area. And that's from my own struggles working to lift my own saggy booty and just making some discoveries on how to really see some significant changes in that area. And so now that's one of the things that I focus on with clients.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes sense if in your facility you focus on training with females. I'm quite sure that's an area that they point out and want work and help with. Okay, so let's kind of start off with, like, what is this saggy butt syndrome?
Great question. And a lot of women, we really know what we're talking about when we say saggy butt, because most of us, even though we may not look back there a lot, when we do, especially when it becomes swimsuit time or when we're putting on a dress, a tight fitting outfit, we sometimes start to notice, and it happens as we age, but it can even start when we're younger, that the hips start to sag and the belly starts to pooch. And so it's kind of like the opposite effect. The front side is sticking out and the back side is falling. And so we're losing that tissue in the back and the hip area, and we start getting sagging. And women know the term, we call it the butt crease, which is that line between the top of the thighs and the booty. And so you start getting sagging there and things just kind of fall, gravity takes on, and it's not the look that we're going for as ladies. And I'm sure it's not the look that you men want to see either.
Okay, good point. And then, you kind of talked about saggy butt syndrome being, more of like a visual thing, but it also can lead to other things. And what would be some of the examples that, some of the issues that it can lead to other than not being desirable look that you want?
Absolutely. It can absolutely lead to some joint issues and just postural issues. Tight hip flexors. I know that you talk a lot about tight hip flexors, and this is actually something that can contribute to tight hip flexors, or that tight hip flexors can contribute to. So those two things work together. That's one area. And then also back issues, knee issues, just general our posture. When we lose the tone in our hips and our butt and the lift in that area, it just really affects our whole posture. And that leads to, that can even go all the way up to neck and it causes neck problems. So it's really amazing how our body's so interconnected, and one thing can lead to another,
Okay. And so a lot of times when ladies, usually ladies, see that, their booty isn't exactly what they're hoping it would be, they'll oftentimes just kind of focus on the leg exercise that they know, which would end up being squats. So
Correct.
Why is it that, squats might not be the best choice when it comes to helping fix the saggy butt syndrome?
Squats are going to target the legs. They're going to target certain parts of the glutes. However, what I experienced, and one of the things when I was struggling with really lifting the hips, it was when I first really started working on it and really worrying about it and really wanting to fix it, was when I was a fitness competitor. And when I was in competitions, the judges would constantly tell me that I needed to work on the glute area and the sagging area and really work on balancing that out and lifting it. And I was already doing tons of squats and some of the other traditional lower body exercises, and I felt so frustrated because I was working so hard and nothing was changing that area. I was still getting the same feedback, the same comments every show after show that I would do. And so I really went back into my textbooks and research and looking at what does affect that glute area and the top of the thighs, the glutes. And also I went to a physical therapist and met with a physical therapist to try to see if I could just figure out anything that maybe there was something I was missing that I could do to help that area that I just was leaving out of the workouts. And that's when I discovered, through research and going to the physical therapist and trying lots of different exercises, I started, instead of just focusing on the hip area, I actually started focusing on it's a muscle group, and you're familiar, called the erector spinae, which goes up the spine, and it goes all the way from the lower spine all the way up to in the neck area. And so that area actually that muscle group has a huge effect on lifting our hips and our posture. Many times we think of, well, if I want to lift the lower part of the booty, I need to go at it from the lower end of the body. And what I discovered was I really wasn't going at it from the top, the back, and working my way down and lifting from the top of the body. I was focusing so much on the squats and the lower body exercises. And when I made that discovery and really started incorporating those exercises for the back and the spine, I really started seeing that lifting happening in my booty and getting rid of the sagging. And I was like, wow, this is what I've been missing this whole time.